Well, hello, my name is Brian Jacobson. I am the Director of Advancement and Alumni Relations at Trinity Bible College and Graduate School in Ellendale, North Dakota. And we have a treat today. We are here with Carly Anderson. Carly is a Trinity alumnus, and graduated with a degree in elementary education, I believe. Is that right, Carly?
Yeah.
And she is teaching in Park River, North Dakota, near Langdon, near the North Dakota border.
Yeah.
It's as far away as about can anybody be, and about the size of Ellendale as well. And we just thought it would be really cool to talk with you, Carly, about how life has gone, especially in the last several weeks, months, transitioning from a classroom where you were managing and teaching and leading and loving second graders to a distant ed online world, and how in the world you continue to do that. So welcome. And so why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you came to attend Trinity Bible College and your journey to be a teacher even.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Sutton, North Dakota, which is another small town. So I kind of have that going for me. Basically, since the age of probably since I've been in third grade, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher in a small town because I just had a big heart for it. And I loved growing up in a small town. I loved the connections and the people. And so even just like deciding where I wanted to go to college, that was a big influencer in it. I remember that I think I was a senior in high school. No, probably a junior in high school. And I went to one of my like little rinky-dink camps, Fohocha Bible Camp. And I remember that Greg Washington was there, and he was advertising for Trinity, and he like threw all these bracelets out, and I was like, oh, Trinity, I'll put that in my back pocket. And then I went home and I was trying to like think about where I was going to go to college like a couple months later, and I saw that bracelet and I was like, maybe I'll look into it. And then I called somebody and got information, and I remember they prayed with me over the phone. I don't even know who it was, but I was just like, oh, I want to go to this place where they're going to pray for me, and it just seemed like they were so intentional. Like they were just like, we want to know how you're doing, what we can do to pray for you. And I was like, wow. I don't know if there's any place that I would like that I would rather go than this place that is going to be so intentional about like my spiritual walk and my professional career. So, and once I found out that they had an elementary degree, I was just kind of sold. So.
Oh, that's a neat story. So a bracelet.
Yeah.
One of those gel band bracelets.
Yep.
What do they cost us? A quarter or less each?
I don't know, but it brought me there.
That was the deal.
Yeah.
Who says that swag at some sort of event doesn't matter, huh?
Yeah, right. It changed my whole life. It's crazy.
Oh, that's neat. Now, tell us about your classroom. What does that look like? And I mentioned second graders, so tell us about your classroom.
My current classroom, because like right now this is my current classroom.
We'll get to your current classroom. Let's talk about the classroom that you have been in for the last about a year at least.
Yeah. My classroom, it's colorful, and it's got flexible seating in it so that my kids have options to sit and learn as they need. And let's see. I like to keep it open and free so that we can do a lot of movement around my classroom. And I don't know, it's got lots of life in it, or it used to, before everything happened. Like there really is no energy like second grade energy, as I say.
So maybe tell us a little bit about your students then. How many do you have? They're second graders.
Yeah.
What's some of the demographics there?
Yeah, I started out with 19, and then we had a few move away, so I have 16 now. And they're just full of life. I love teaching second grade because second graders they still love school and they love their teacher still. And I can just say like, okay, today we're going to learn about graphs. And they're like, graphs? That's amazing, And so it's pretty easy. They're a pretty easy audience to please. And also they're fun because they just love you and they love learning, and they're just little sponges. So I love them a lot.
Okay. So here are these little people that you love, they love you. I mean, everybody loves your second grade teacher, and you
Yeah.
don't start, like you said, they still love their teachers. We don't start questioning our teachers until, we're maybe in middle school. I don't know.
Right. Still their
Um,
mom.
what's that?
That they still call me mom by accident all the time,
Oh,
and
wow. What an honor. What
it's
an
sweet.
honor that is. So let's talk about the transition. One day you go to school, the next day, now you're not doing school as you've been trained to do it. You're not doing school as you thought you would be doing it. You've had to transition from a traditional classroom that's full of color and vibrancy and flexibility
Yeah.
to doing it by computer with second graders. Tell
Yeah.
us about that transition.
It was just a crazy week. I remember the week before schools like officially closed their doors at least. It was Wednesday and we had a staff meeting, and our superintendent had said something like, you know, it's just probably not something that we're going to have to worry about, but here I want you guys just to be thinking, like, if you did have to do something from a distance, like, what would you do? And just maybe we should just take some time to do some extra cleaning around the school. That was that Wednesday. And then we had another emergency staff meeting that Friday, and he was like, I want plans submitted on Monday. We need to get parent surveys finding out like who has internet access, who has devices. We need to know right away, and we'll see what happens. And so, I took my survey on Friday with my parents and found out that, lots of them didn't have internet and lots of them didn't have devices. And I was like, okay, so we'll figure out how to do this. And I was like, okay, so this next week, I'll take all this whole week to plan out or to teach my kids how to do things online and how to submit things and to use this app that we're going to be using. And then I sent them home on Friday and I didn't see them again. So it's been quite an experience. I would say that the biggest thing has been teaching them, because they didn't even get any experience about they didn't get any education on how to do things online before they left, because it just happened so quickly. Like we were going to take that whole next week to teach them things, and it just never worked out. So I'd say that the biggest thing has been just helping them navigate how we do assignments now, and helping the parents, and also like remembering that each student, when they are in your classroom, they have that stable environment. Every single one of them has a stable environment inside your classroom. It's their safe place,
Yeah.
and their second home. But now these students, they don't have the same. I can't even imagine like what they're going through. Some of them might have like a stay-at-home mom, and they might be like an only child. But there's another child that maybe comes from a very unstable home and is maybe like one of 7 kids in that household, and their learning experience is going to be so different than the one that's like an only child. And so, I mean, just modifying and changing how I teach based off of what these kids' circumstances has been pretty challenging, but also it needs to be done. So,
Wow, wow. So what sort of, give me an idea, and I imagine this probably might be similar in other rural settings. What percentage of your students did you discover were facing a lack of technology, the ability to get online, if you were?
Okay, so for our town, I mean, I have a smaller class. We have 2 second grade sections, and so I think it's 16 and 18 kids. I obviously have the smaller class because I had some that moved away, and I found out that probably like a third or a fourth of my kids didn't have devices, and of that third, I'd say there was like 2 or 3 that didn't have internet. And so, but small towns and amazing small towns, we figured out ways to get devices to our kids. And also the internet provider is providing free internet for those kids that needed it. And that has been like, just really encouraging to see how people can work together to make something happen. So that's been good.
Wow, we're so thankful for the medical community and those that are really doing yeoman's work. We hear expressions of calling them heroes and things like that. But to see your local internet service provider step up and make that sort of service available for free during this time, That's
And,
another
it's
hero.
crazy too because, that's money that they're losing and they're
Oh
still
yeah.
so willing to do it. And so, I mean, that's just been so encouraging and they've been just on top of it too. Like, I don't think there's really any families that didn't have internet at the beginning and don't have internet now. So that's been really,
Wow.
really awesome.
Wow, wow, wow. Wonderful. Well, our hats off to them.
Mhm.
Um, hmm, that's, I'm touched by that.
Mhm.
So next question I have for you is, what have been some of your greatest frustrations or heartaches in having to now move toward teaching? You can't reach out and literally put an arm around your student now, physically. So what have been some of the frustrations that you've encountered, and how have you dealt with those? And,
Oh man, I mean, there's been like a lot of heartaches with this whole thing. Of course, there's that issue of having kids actually do the work now that they're have less accountability, or maybe their families aren't as involved in their academics as like you wish they would be. So of course, there's that struggle. I would say that for me, the biggest thing that's been hardest for me has been realizing that my kids all have such different backgrounds and they all have such different living situations right now. And so realizing that this wasn't just going to be me sending like the same packet home to all of my kids anymore. And like, because that just wouldn't work. And some kids that worked well with technology could do more things like, technology based, and some kids have like, are raised by their grandmas and they don't know how to, text, problem solve on the iPads. And so just adjusting, like right now, I'm modifying every assignment that I send out to my kids. So every kid gets a different packet of activities. And so like originally it was just going to be me like, okay, let's print out this packet and send all of them out to the families. And after a few weeks, I was like, this isn't working and this isn't helping kids and this isn't helping parents. And this isn't showing that I'm supporting them where they're at right now. And so it's been kind of a journey of figuring out what works best and doing a lot of like kind of extra work to make sure that every family is taken care of, I guess, in the way that they need to be taken care of.
so I had not imagined teachers sending out still pieces of paper, uh, and I don't say that to minimize that or at all. I'm just honestly taken back. You've mentioned that. I've heard you say that a couple times, and sending out a packet. So walk me through that process of what you have to do to put something in the mail, and as you've indicated, you've customized it, you've tailored it to that
Yeah.
particular student and family situation.
Yes. Oh man, it's quite a process. So I mean, of course, like we day one is usually me just kind of planning out what kind of assignments each kid is going to get. And so that's like an all day thing kind of that usually takes up all my school hours. And then of course I'm meeting with kids too on Google chats and meeting up with parents and making sure that everybody's kind of okay with the assignments that they've gotten so far. And so there's that in between. The next day is usually me trying to figure out, okay, I have to like make some video lessons because these kids aren't getting any new information at this point, you know? And so I have to create video lessons too, and, create like an appropriate activity that goes along with it. And so that goes along with it. And then usually like I have the system where I make kind of a bingo card so that everything that they get in a week is on this bingo card. And their goal is to get a blackout bingo on everything. So one thing might be like, a fun activity might be like help take a walk with your parents or take a walk with a family member. And then the other one might be check out Miss Anderson's video and do the activity with it. And then one of them might be like do the review paper that's found in your packet, because it's just there's I don't know, I don't want to put them on the iPads all day because they're second graders and I don't feel like that's something that I can do. But I mean, it's fine if people do that. But I think that they still need like that hands-on paper writing activities every once in a while. But yes, and then helping them learn new lessons and use the iPad in the appropriate ways.
Wow, neat. That's really creative.
Yeah.
Very creative. So I'm sure there have been, amidst this um, different and difficult time,
Hmm.
there have been some surprises. and there have been some surprises that are really joyful. Can you share with us some of those situations that, wow, this was a joy that kind of surprised me. I didn't anticipate experiencing this side of this emotion during this situation, this pandemic.
Yes. Oh, there's been a lot of wins. As much as like there has been struggles, there's definitely been like so many good moments too with it. Um, so in the regular classroom, it's always like that struggle of trying to like get to know my kids and like feeling like I never gave them like enough time to tell me about their lives, because there's 16 kids that all want to tell you every detail of their life, and I have to teach still. And as much so, we create those moments where they can share those personal moments of their life with me, but I always kind of felt like I fell short in like giving them the time that they needed. But during this, they're getting to share so much of their own life with me because they're taking videos of them like making castles in their backyard, and I'm Skyping with them and they're showing me like, this is my room and I made this the other day, and I get to have those moments, those one-on-one moments that I always wish I could have like given them more of in the actual class here. And so it's just been good to see it like get that connection. And with some of those kids that I had, maybe a tougher time with, I've been noticing it's been so much easier to connect with them because like they're the ones that just want to be outside, and so they're Skyping me from outside and they're playing with their dog and they're like, this is my dog, and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. And they're seeing that I care about them too, that I care about their personal life. And so it's just that has been such a win, in getting to see them in this new environment rather than just the classroom setting.
And they're you're one-on-one with
Yeah.
those students in that situation.
Yep.
I could see where a young person that really just needs that validation, that one-on-one with you, and not you are their audience in those
Mm-hmm.
moments. And for somebody, a young kid like that, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Very neat, very neat. Um, um, let's transition a little bit. I mean, I know you're in a public school, and maybe I'm going to go off script just a little bit. Um, um, you I know what drives you is your love for the Lord and your love for these kids, and I also know that you're respectful of the authorities in their, to not proselytize, but to love, just to love. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling that you're able to do that over the airwaves like this, over Wi-Fi?
It is different, but it's definitely still, it's for when I was in my classroom, it was creating that environment of like being intentional in like praying over my kids' desks every day, or praying over the classroom that this would be a place where they feel like the love of God, and they feel that, and that I can show the love of God like adequately to them. And now it's still the same though, because I still like, that's still my prayer for my kids, is that they would be able to see like the love of God through me, and that I could still pray for them, even because you just don't know if anybody's praying for these kids in the situations that they're in. And so knowing that like I might be the only one that's praying for them, like that just doesn't deter me, even if we're not seeing each other face to face. And so, and then just like, I think that a big part of it is to show kids that you love them and that you care about them, and that you're not just doing this because you're getting a paycheck, is to show that you like
Mm.
care about them. And so, I mean, I've been writing letters to my kids and just saying like, oh, your teacher still loves you and she can't wait to see you. And I miss your hugs, and things like that. And so I think like right now that's kind of how they register love. And so I hope that they're, I don't know. I guess that's what I'd have to say.
So, Carly, how has Trinity, your time here at Trinity Bible College, prepared you for teaching in a COVID-19 pandemic world? I mean, this was not something that you probably had much of a conversation with in class with the beloved Amy Fryer, our department chair, or your classmates. How, as you look back, how would you say did Trinity prepare you for this? Let's start there, and then
Yeah.
How so?
I say that every time someone asks me about Trinity and like what my experience with the education department was, it's usually something along the lines of you can have the best education degree, you can have the best professors, but if your professors aren't teaching you about how to have relationships with your kids and how to love your kids like with the love of God, then I don't think that, it's there's just nothing like that. And for Trinity, it did that for me. And in every single one of Amy's classes, she said, like relationships, 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 relationships. That is like the number one thing that you're going to need to like carry you through your education. It doesn't matter if you have the biggest brain, and it doesn't matter if you have the best teaching styles. Like if you don't have relationships with your kids, you will not be a great teacher. And I mean, that has been pretty much my anchor throughout all of this like uncertainty, is like, it doesn't matter if I'm teaching different. It doesn't matter if if I'm having a hard time like reaching out to my kids, or my kids aren't like giving me back all that I wish that they would give me. Like the fact is that I still need to show these kids that I want to have a relationship with them, and I love them, and I care about their life right now. And so that has been kind of what my anchor in this whole COVID-19 thing has been. And also like, I think that Trinity really instilled that in me.
Very true, isn't it? I mean, that's the community that what you described here is what Trinity is all about. It's relationships, and that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
We've been struck by, just as we're separated from people and all this social distancing, not able to really attend church in the same way, the importance of the relationship, the one-on-one, whether it's a text, whether it's a phone call, it's just the one-on-one. Jesus did ministry that way, one-on-one. And that's what this place is all about. So let's land the plane here, and maybe share with us just one or two of the dearest memories that you have of your time as a student here at Trinity Bible College. This could be an unashamed plug for the college at this point if you want it. And
Oh man.
this is, not been all about that. It's been about how has God prepared you, and how through the Trinity Bible College and graduate school. But I'm sure you have some dear memories, and that really shape who you are now, and how you behave. And maybe just share a couple of those with us.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, okay, so this is very cheesy and cliche, but I mean, I'd say that the professors and the staff just have some of my like most fond memories. I'd say just how much. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking about my elementary education classes, and how Amy was like pretty much our teacher that we saw all day, and I mean, she just loved her kids like they were her own kids. And we just became like a family in those classes, because we had the same classes, the same teachers, the same students, we were all in the same, bundle basically. And so Amy would take us out, and we would just go and do our classes outside, and we would just giggle and laugh and learn, and we would have really meaningful conversations. And then like Amy would be so willing to just have us over for supper at night, and it's just like, I just don't know where I could have gotten such a good relationship with my professors. And I mean, I know that all of my classmates felt that too. The other elementary education majors were like, well, maybe I should just go talk with Amy about this, and it could be something that was completely unrelated to ed. It was just something that was going on in their life, and they just needed advice, and they just knew that Amy would be so willing to listen and so full of like wisdom to give. So I mean, I have such fond memories of just being together as that family of a class, and then having like our mother figure kind of as like Amy. And I mean, just being such a great mentor to us, and we all felt that. And so I think that's probably my most fond memories.
Oh, that's good. What a tribute to Amy, too. And she's still doing that. She's still being an incredible teacher, role model. And you can just tell that that students that come out of her program walk away with the same passion that she has for teaching, for investing in the lives of people, both she and her husband Garrett. Well, this has been a lot of fun to catch up with you. When did you graduate at Trinity again?
2018.
You're a 2018 grad, so a couple of years ago. This has been 2 years.
Yep.
Your homecoming 2-year celebration, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, we sure are very proud of you, and just excited to see what God is doing in your life. And I might just also deviate from the script a little bit. We learned before we began recording that you have something special going on in your life in August.
I
Tell us a
do.
little bit about that.
I'm getting married. I'm so excited. I found a wonderful man who loves Jesus, and he's a farmer around this area, and we met each other at the Dairy Queen, and we'd been dating for a while, and he popped the question in February. So yes, so we're very excited.
Congratulations
I know I'm not very good about posting things on social media, so I'm sure lots of people probably don't know yet.
Well, that's why I maybe thought I should just tease that out just a little bit here in this conversation.
Oh, I know.
So, again, thank you so much. Maybe to finish us off, how would you feel, and I meant to ask you in advance of this, would you mind praying for students, for teachers at this time?
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously are just, I can tell just talking with you, and I think our listeners would be able to tell as well, your continued zeal and enthusiasm, both for the Lord and for your students. But maybe there are others that are out there, both student side and the teacher side, that are really, really discouraged right now.
Yeah.
Would you mind doing that for us?
Absolutely. That's something I would love to do. All right. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for just being so present in this chaotic time of our lives, God. We just know that even amidst chaos, you're the God of peace and you're the God of comfort, Jesus. And so we just pray right now for those people, those teachers and those students, and probably those parents too that are feeling so much weight on this during this time, God. And I just pray that you would just show them that you are so present in their lives, that you are the provider and you are the giver of wisdom and inspiration. And God, I just thank you so much that through this time that you've never left them, that this very uncertainty, like this anxious time, that you've never left them and you will never leave them, God. And I just pray that they would have revelations even in their houses, even while they're having their Zoom meetings or their Google chats, that their teachers care for them. And I pray that those teachers, that they would just finally get through those really tough kids, and that some kids would just log on for the first time and see those relationships that they have with those teachers are still there, and that they're just there for them, God. And so, Jesus, I just pray that throughout this time of uncertainty, that you would just be, I don't know, revealing our dependency that we need to have on you, God. And I just thank you so much that we are not alone in this, and that we have the greatest guide in the whole world to help us through it. And I just thank you so much for what you're doing in and through this, even if it seems crazy. We know that you have everything in your hands. And we just praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Carly, thanks again. So good to be with you and hear what's happening in your world. And again, we rejoice with you and Isaiah in August. I hope everything clears up so that you can have a wonderful wedding.
Yeah, me too.
And we just, again, thanks so much for being a wonderful teacher, wonderful alumni. We love you. We're proud of you. And we'll stay in touch.
Sounds good. I'm so
Amen.
thankful. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.